Hi, I'm Lucian, the designer for Eden Left Behind, a narrative mech exploration ttrpg. It's been a while, but I said I'd make this video next, so here it is. There's a lot of talk and debate in the ttrpg space about tactics, what it means, how it works, but I think one of the reasons the discussion gets so confusing and opinions are so strong is because a lot of people are actually talking about two different things. So for the sake of this video, I'm using tactics as the word because it's so present, but we'll define tactics as short-term combat problem solving. Not your entire plan and strategy of how you're going to win the game, but just how you are going to solve the current issue. So this is your 1 to 3 turn plan of action. Okay, so the idea. I think there's actually two types of tactics, creative and critical. Creative tactics is when you need to look at your tools, environment, and situation and come up with something new and inventive to put you into a better position. Creative tactics often come with little repeats. Fighting a dragon in the woods using creative tactics would be much different from fighting a dragon in a desert. You might use the trees to set up traps and the sand to obscure your presence. Creative tactics games often include very open-ended abilities. Stuff that just says, you can do this thing whenever you want. Creative tactics often go hand in hand with more narrative-focused games. Theater of the Mind scenes, systems like Power by the Apocalypse or Forged in the Dark. Critical tactics is when you look at your tools, environment, and situation and come up with the best combination of things for that scenario. Critical tactics can often come with repeated strategies. Fireball the biggest group, lightning bolt the line of bad guys, fly above the melee range enemies. Fighting a dragon in the woods can look pretty similar to fighting a dragon in the desert. You might use the trees as cover and the dunes to jump away from the fire breathing. Critical tactics games often utilize paper button abilities, things that you can essentially click and then they do a thing. But the fun of critical tactics is knowing when to use your buttons and how to get the most use out of them. Critical tactics are often paired with grid-based skirmish games, Lancer, Pathfinder, Cyberpunk. So now that we know what these are, what use is it to us? Well, the thing is, these aren't one or the other. Nearly every game will have a little bit of both, but like many things, it's a spectrum. You've got creative over here and critical over here. So if you're a player, it's good to know what kind you enjoy. Like for me, I really enjoy creative tactics with just a little splash of critical tactics. So games with lots of flexibility and unusual combat mechanics, like Masks, Our Brilliant Ruin, or games like Outgunned. But I know plenty of people really enjoy critical tactics. They like looking over the sheet like a menu and picking what they think would be the best option. A very clear input to output. Lancer has a massive fan base and the whole game is critical tactics. Twilight 2000s is very critical, Fabula Ultima, and even D&D. As a GM, it's also very important to know which style you enjoy. I really enjoy running the same games I'd play, so high creative tactics with a little bit of critical. It can help inform what games you should buy and run for your tables. When I ran my 2 campaigns of D&D, I began to realize that I simply don't enjoy running grid-based combats. And after I ran a few combat in Theater of the Mind, the whole thing became much, much more enjoyable. But D&D isn't made for that. Lots of measurements. So we swapped systems, and I started designing Eden to fill the kind of mix I enjoy. You can imagine the specific mix of creative and critical tactics of a game as like a ball of Play-Doh. Run the game exactly as it is, and the dough stays fixed as a ball, perfectly intact. But if you want a different experience, you can start to stretch out the Play-Doh, which works to a certain distance and then starts to break and fall apart. So the goal is to find a game that starts as close as possible to your ideal mixture, and then you just stretch it a little bit. So where does Eden sit? And how did I try to do that? Like I said, I enjoy high creative with a little bit of critical, so the mechanics reflect that. You get bonus dice for simply using a tool, environmental factor, or getting help from a friend. Abilities that are purely narrative, like the stylish vest that just makes you look better than everyone else. Or extra arms that just give you 2 extra arms. With a small dose of some paper button abilities, like sunglasses that let you take them off dramatically to improve a social role, or the big red button that just lets you explode your mech, you can really get a nice combo that can fit any kind of table. With 160 starting mech components and more unlocked through boss fights, the mix of creative narrative abilities and critical buttony abilities lets players of all types have fun with the gameplay they enjoy, and they still get to keep the whole vibe pretty creative. The experience is curated to have high creative tactics while giving players that enjoy critical tactics a good time too. So, where are you on this spectrum? Player or GM? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic since it's a pretty new idea and it's definitely not fully complete. Let me know in the comments down below. I try to respond to everyone. If you enjoyed this video, consider joining the Discord. I run Games of Eden there, as well as show off some of the other games we're making, and we have design talks and just regular discussions there. Come hang out. If you like this kind of design talk, head on over to the Patreon. With each video out on YouTube, I will be posting a second video that is a step-by-step follow-along guide to making your very own ttrpg. Episode 1 is out. It's all about finding your concept. I post here frequently about game design, storytelling, and Eden Left Behind. So subscribe if you're into that. Thanks for watching.